doing, good people? This is the 8-Bit Animal. And we've had a few different games that we've talked about this year based on Hanna-Barbera properties. And I knew eventually we were going to have to talk about this one, especially after we talked about the rescue of Dino and Hoppy, considering that George Jetson shows up in that game. And this one is infinitely more expensive. Well, not infinite, a couple of $100, but way more expensive than the rescue of Dino and Hoppy. It's kind of ridiculous that everything after 1991 or 1990 at least that came out from Taito was this expensive in resale. Everything that they put out after that point shows up on eBay. It's hundreds of dollars, in some cases thousands of dollars. It's ridiculous. But again, I have a responsibility to discuss this for the purposes of history. Also, this is a Taito published platformer that was developed by Natsume. So yeah, I'm going to talk about it. Today, we're going to take a quick look at the Jetsons' Cogswell's Caper. Now, Mr. Spacely has tasked George Jetson to stop Cogswell, his arch nemesis, from building a mining facility on a distant planet. And also, before I continue with any of that, I have a weird observation. I have never seen a piece of cover art involving the Jetsons, specifically George Jetson, or his mouth isn't open. Whether he's got a big open mouth grin or he's yelling in panic, his mouth is always open. And you never see teeth. I don't get it. But anyway, it's a standard platformer. You use crates to kind of deal with enemies, kind of like Rescue Rangers. Though George picks up the crates and throws them a lot slower than Chip and or Dale. George also has a jetpack, so that handles some of the platforming. And there are switches all over the game field, all over levels. If you flip them, different things happen. Whether they drop, whether you get power-ups or the gravity reverses itself, different things happen. And that kind of makes for some interesting gameplay. This feels like a little bit of a progression from the rescue of Dino and Hoppy, where you would go to you would collect items and talk to Gazoo to get power-ups and all that stuff, to transform and all that. You don't really do any of that in this game, but this one is still pretty solid. Platforming is different, but still pretty cool. And it's a Taito game, so the sound's going to be decent. Controls are going to be tight because it's developed by Natsume. It's colorful, it's bright, it's hard. Again, developed by Natsume. But it's not a bad video game at all. I will say that some of these licensed games from like Taito and Atlas, they were a period of time where there was a brief window where, depending on who was making the licensed game, you could trust the licensed game. And then we hit the 16-bit years. But alas, Cogswell's Caper is a decent video game, and you should totally check it out. However, if you decide you want to get yourself a copy of this, while repro carts cost about, you can get a repro for about 30 bucks. Most clone systems don't play well with repros, which means that you're gonna need a legit cart to play on your console. In that instance, a legit cart, the cheapest one I saw, about $250, and I only saw one for that price. Everything else was over $300. This game ain't cheap at all. It's one of the pricier Taito games. There are a few more that are way more expensive, but yeah, this one's still pretty pricey. And yeah, I can't justify the price unless you are a hardcore collector of Hanna-Barbera memorabilia, or you just got it like that. And if you got it like that, let me hold $20. How about that? This has been the 8-Bit Animal, and I'll catch you beautiful people tomorrow.
8-Bit Animal.
Tomorrow. You know, I used to like this game when I was a kid. I had terrible taste in some things,